Hi friends, I want to give you a warm thanks for joining me and welcoming today's guest. She is someone who has spent her life standing up for others. Jackie Speier is a former United States Congresswoman and now serves on the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. She has been a leader for fairness, equality, and human rights for many years. Jackie has worked hard to make sure families have food, housing, and safety. Through the Jackie Speier Foundation, she helps fight childhood poverty right here in San Mateo County, making sure no child goes hungry. She is also known for her courage, her honesty, and her heart. Please join me in welcoming Jackie Speier to the No-No Show. It's really nice to see you.
Great to see you again.
Thank you for being on the No-No Show.
My pleasure.
I met you recently at the Women's Equality Day event. It was really an empowering discussion. Why do you think it's important for women to get involved in government?
Because we're over 50% of the population, and decisions about our future are made in government. And if we're not at the table, our futures are not going to be ones in which we can feel confident that they are going to be reflective of what's of interest to women.
That's amazing. Thank you for telling that story. You have served in local, state, and national government for more than 40 years. In what areas have you seen the greatest progress for women?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of progress for women on every level of government. Right now, we have 3 women on the Board of Supervisors in San Mateo County. When I was here back in 1980, I was the only woman. And in the state legislature, the majority of members in the state assembly, I believe, are now women. When I was in the state assembly, there were only 13 women out of 80. In Congress, we've seen the number of women grow to about 23%. Now, that's certainly not 50%, but at least it's going in the right direction. And what we've seen in colleges, in graduate schools, the majority of those in college now are women. The majority in graduate programs. When I went to law school, only about 30% of the class was female. Now it's more than 50%. So our numbers are really changing for the better. The real question is, why are men not going to college? Why are men no longer in equal numbers in graduate programs? I think that's an issue we have to address at some point as well.
Thank you for sharing. Going back to where it all started, you grew up in San Francisco during a time of huge cultural and political change. How did that environment shape your values and your approach to public service?
Well, I don't know if the location that I was raised in, I was born in San Francisco and raised on the peninsula in South San Francisco and in Burlingame. I think a lot of my values came from my family, like most of us. I think how we're raised plays a significant role in how we look at the world. So my family played a very important role. And then I got involved in politics when I was 16. So I say to young people in particular, if there's an area that interests you, go volunteer your time. See if that's what really inspires you, because you spend too much of your life at work, 2/3 of your day. So if you're not enjoying your work, you're going to be miserable. So I got my start as a Ryan girl, and there's a picture outside of me in this little outfit, and I was passing out literature for then Assemblyman Leo Ryan, and I got the bug. And so over the course of a number of years, I got involved in politics. I applied to only 2 colleges. One was Stanford, I got rejected, and the other was UC Davis, and I got accepted. And it turned out it was the best place for me because I was 20 minutes from the state capitol. So I started my work first as an intern for Assamiam and Ryan, and then later as a staff member.
I love that. For me, when I started what I want to do, I was watching the news a lot, and I saw you on TV.
Oh, really?
And watching Good Morning America, and The View, and all kinds of political outlets. So that's how I started.
See? We get imprinted when sometimes when you least expect it. My daughter got imprinted because she went to a career day at school and went and listened to a local news broadcaster, and then she said, I want to be a news reporter. And so today she's a news reporter.
That's cool. Where was there a defining moment that inspired your career in public service?
There's a term called imposter syndrome, and it's this sense that I'm not good enough to do something. And women more than men actually suffer from the imposter syndrome. And I, as a young person, suffered from it. I remember when I was driving into Sacramento one day, and I'm looking at this bright Capitol dome, and I thought, wow, I'd really love to serve in the state legislature someday, but I don't think I have what it takes. And that's the imposter syndrome. So was that a defining moment? Probably not. But certainly when I was shot in Guyana and left for dead on an airstrip, I said, wait a minute, if I survive, I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to public service. So I came home and ran for Congress and lost. And I love to tell young people in particular, you're looking at a 3-time loser, because I lost for student body president in high school, I lost the first time I ran for Congress, and I lost when I ran for lieutenant governor in California. But every time you think that you've lost, you've actually won, because you have learned something about yourself. And in each of those experiences, when a door closed, a window opened, and I flew right through it.
Thank you for telling that amazing story. You have been a strong champion for human rights, reproductive freedom, and equality. Yet it seems at the present you are going in the wrong direction. What advice would you give activists in turn this around to protect our rights?
You can't rest. If it's important to you, it's worth fighting for. And my experience has been that if you keep fighting, you're going to be successful. Perseverance is really an important component in any kind of political action. She persists. Remember when that was said of one of our U.S. senators, Elizabeth Warren? She persists. Well, we all have to persist because there's too much at stake. And women shouldn't lose their right to self-determination, to control over their bodies. LGBTQ community should be able to be comfortable walking the streets and serving in public life and not being discriminated against. Persons of color should have the opportunity to pursue their dreams, whatever they are.
As a San Mateo County Supervisor, what are the most pressing issues you're working on right now?
Well, we just finished yesterday a long saga of a corrupt sheriff who was really bringing our county to its knees. And we went through a process to first give her her rights and have it be reviewed within the law enforcement world, and then through a process, we went to the voters and said, would you be willing to give the Board of Supervisors the right to fire the sheriff? And the voters of San Mateo County said yes by a significant number. And so we took that power and fired the former sheriff and appointed a new one who was just appointed last night. So we're looking forward to some calm and a rebuilding of our sheriff's department. So that's one issue. I'm also very concerned about food insecurity. I'm concerned about child poverty. We live and the richest county in California, and the fourth richest in the country. And we've got 27,000 kids that are living in poverty. 2,000 or 3,000 go hungry every night. So I'm concerned about the efforts to try and restrict SNAP, which is the food stamp program. And I want to make sure that we do everything we can to guarantee that no one ever goes to bed hungry. And beyond that, I'm very committed to doing what I believe will be a game changer for people in this county. We're losing our middle class because it's too expensive to live here. And I believe if we could do universal childcare, it would be a huge win for our residents, for businesses, because people are leaving the county because they can't afford to live here. And so then we lose our employment base. So those are the issues I'm working on right now.
You're talking to someone who is losing his SNAP benefits starting next year. So that's really impacting me, and I'm fighting for that myself because I want that back.
You're talking about Medicaid benefits?
Medicaid and SNAP.
And SNAP.
Yes.
So this whole effort now to force persons who are eligible for Medicaid or SNAP to prove that they're looking for a job is an effort not to encourage people to work, but an effort to reduce the number who are going to be eligible for Medicaid. It's very mean-spirited. It is.
I can't, I don't have the money out of pocket for my medications, so I'm hopeful that I'm going to do an appeal, hopefully, so I can get my medication back.
So one of the good things in San Mateo County is that our Medicaid program is run through the health plan of San Mateo. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we are not as restricted as other counties are because they relied exclusively on Medicaid. So we're able to provide a much more robust program for those who are Medicaid eligible. So hopefully you will not lose your medication, and if you do, you need to call me.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
My cousins with young children talk about a daycare desert. They are needing to work but can't find reasonable daycare. This is a topic you are passionate about. What's being done to address this issue, and what's the plan?
Okay, good question. So one of the first things we're doing is making sure that we have a portal that we're going to run out of the county so that you could put your zip code in and find out where the child care centers are and family daycare homes in your zip code, whether they have vacancies, how much it costs. So getting that portal up is the first step. Then I want to put on the ballot a half-cent sales tax, which would generate $130 million a year. That would reduce the cost of child care for families in San Mateo County if it passes. So that is a step in the right direction. Beyond that, I want to do something called TriShare. And it's been done in states like Michigan, where you go out to employers and say, we have a program. It's one that we will provide with you to your employee up to a certain income level. And the county will pay 1/3, the employer will pay 1/3, and the employee will pay 1/3. And what they have found in Michigan, where they have attempted this, retention rates have improved, absenteeism has been reduced, and it's been good for business, it's been good for the employee, and it's good for the community. So that's going to be one of my big campaigns moving forward.
My show's tagline is Fearless Conversations for a Kinder World. In your opinion, how can society change and make the world a kinder place for all people?
You know, kindness is not something that's hard to acquire. You have it in your heart. It's doing really simple things like walking down the street and smiling at someone, or saying have a good day, or I love doing things like paying for someone's groceries who's in front of me in line. Or, for those who are homeless, some people say, well, why would you give them money? They're just going to use it on booze. Well, if you haven't walked in their shoes, who am I to say? So there's lots of ways you can be kind. You can be kind to your neighbor. You can look in on your neighbor. You can be kind to your friends. You can be kind to your coworkers. It's not something that costs you anything. Now you said fearless. So there's one thing up here. If you look at that, it says the 150 fearless women in the world. And Newsweek identified me as one year. And so fearless is part of my middle name too. And if you're fearless, you do things because you believe they're the right thing to do, whether there's a downside risk to it or not. So I always tell people that you should think about, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? We oftentimes are paralyzed by fear of failing. It's important to go out there and take those risks. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, you should do something every day that scares you. So think about that.
I will think about that. When people look back on your life's work, what do you hope they say about your legacy?
Oh, I don't know. I hope they don't throw spitballs at my grave. I would say that I would hope they would say she made a commitment to dedicate her life to public service, and she delivered.
Anything else you want to say?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's have some fun and do some
Okay.
rapid fire questions.
Don't blink, you might miss the rapid fire questions. Ready, set, go.
If not this career, what would you have chosen?
Interior design.
That's cool. Where is your favorite place you have traveled to?
Well, I've traveled to lots of places that have been exciting. I would say Marrakesh and Ephesus are the two places that have really kind of knocked my socks off.
Who has influenced your life?
Oh, lots of people have influenced my life. On my credenza over there is Mother Teresa. There's a picture of my grandmother, Leo Ryan. I've been impressed by so many people that have really given me the courage to do things that I might not have done otherwise.
What is your favorite type of food?
Ooh, my favorite type of food, I would probably say Chinese.
I know you love that chicken from Costco too.
And I do love the chicken from Costco.
Since this is the no-no show, what is something society calls a no-no, but you think it's time we change that?
I would say speaking up to your parents, sometimes that's a no-no, but I think it's important that we speak up to authority, whether it's your parents, not disrespectfully, but that if you have an opinion or a belief, that you should not be afraid to speak up.
I like that, thank you. Thanks again for being my guest on the No-No Show and for all you do for our community.
Well, it's really a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for doing this great podcast.
Thank you.